Jennifer Piggott proudly hung a red and blue Trump campaign flag outside her one-story home during the November election race. Now, after she was abruptly fired from her civil service job, her days of supporting the president are over. Piggott is among more than 125 people dismissed in February from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service in Parkersburg, West Virginia, unsettling a community that voted overwhelmingly for Republican President Donald Trump. Nobody that I've talked to understood the devastation that having this administration in office would do to their lives, Piggott said. She told Reuters in an interview, saying she would not have supported Trump if she knew that what she knows now. As much as I think that President Trump is doing wonderful things for the country in some regards, I don't understand this at all, she said. Piggott worked at BFS for 5 years and had recently been promoted. That promotion made her a target as the Trump administration began firing thousands of probationary federal workers, a group that includes new hires, but also existing workers moving from one internal position to another. The renunciation of allegiance to Trump by Piggott, a church-going conservative and three-time Trump voter, comes as political analysts are parsing early signs of a possible backlash in Republican strongholds where the government-slashing efforts of the president and his cost-cutting czar Elon Musk are beginning to be felt. A White House spokesperson told Reuters that Trump had been given a popular mandate to overhaul the federal government to combat waste, fraud, and abuse. Trump edged out his opponent, Democratic former Vice President Kamala Harris, by 1.5 percentage points in the November contest. The personal financial situation of every American is top of mind for the president, which is why he's working to cut regulations, reshore jobs, lower taxes, and make government more efficient, Harrison Fields added. The Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency did not respond to requests for comment. Spokespeople for Riley Moore, who represents Parkersburg in the House of Representatives, and Senator Jim Justice did not respond to requests for comment. Senator Shelley Moore Capito told Reuters that while she understands the concerns some have about the DOGE cuts, she supports the Trump administration's efforts to right-size government. Trump spoke at length about eliminating unnecessary programs during his address to Congress on Tuesday, but made no mention of the mass government firings that have roiled the country. So far, 100,000 workers have been fired or taken a buyout. Reuters polling shows Americans' attitudes towards Trump are so far essentially unchanged since he began firing federal workers in February. As of March 4th, his approval rating was holding steady at about 44%. West Virginia is also a strong Trump country. He won the state in November with 70% of the vote among his biggest victories. Still, the economic impact of the mass dismissals across America may not be felt immediately. A handful of Republican voters who lost their federal jobs joined Democrats for a rally of more than 100 people protesting the cuts near the two BFS office buildings in Parkersburg last week, cheering on local union leader as he criticized Trump and Musk while standing next to a fat cat balloon. Support for Trump's shrinking of government can, however, be heard in places around Parkersburg. A middle-aged couple singing Doge's praises over breakfast at a local diner, a hotel patron saying remote workers deserve to be fired, a young bartender lamenting federal workers' relatively high pay. In interviews with 3 dozen workers, business owners, and politicians in Parkersburg, which sits at the convergence of two rivers including the mighty Ohio, nearly all said Trump's focus on cutting government spending was a worthy goal. But most said they knew BFS employees to be hardworking and didn't see them as the right target if the aim was to eliminate waste. Scott Heckert, a Republican who represents parts of Parkersburg in the West Virginia state legislature, said he was worried that layoffs at BFS, which employs about 2,200 workers in Parkersburg, would devastate the local economy because the workers earned higher than average salaries and because of the looming prospect of another round of cuts. He said his daughter-in-law was among those fired and that he was seeking more information on why so many jobs were eliminated in seemingly indiscriminate manner before he would commit to backing Trump in the future. See, so you got a family member cut. Now it feels personal. People voted for Donald Trump to make change, he added. It's an unfortunate thing in our community that is plagued with many things as it is. To the residents of Parkersburg, West Virginia's fourth largest city with 29,000 people and the seat of Wood County, the cuts driven by Musk Doge feel like the latest in a series of economic blows. Parkersburg has lost a third of its population over the past 5 decades, mirroring a hollowing out of manufacturing across the state. The glass producer Corning sold its Parkersburg factory in the 1990s, and in 2005, a major shovel plant, buffeted by Chinese competition, closed. BFS, which manages the federal government's accounting and payment systems, is a provider of stable, solid-paying jobs in Wood County, where the median household income is 2/3 the national average and 14% of the population lives below the poverty line. The community is now bracing for another round of layoffs, with all the government agencies ordered to make plans to cut staff by March 13th. That could mean hundreds more cut at BFS. Business owners at Parkersburg said they were worried that more job losses will ripple through the economy in the form of depressed spending on everything from clothing to rent. The owners of the Blennerhassett Hotel, a fixture of downtown Parkersburg for more than 130 years, with the turreted brick facade, has already told staff that seasonal hiring will be kept to a minimum for the usually busy summer months. It's a major economic disaster for our community, said co-worker Wayne Waldeck, likening the potential scale of the expected job cuts to another factory leaving town. Parkersburg Brewing, a local bar and eatery, is also worried about a hit to demand. Roughly 1/6 of the brewery's 65 members, who pay an annual fee for a larger pour and other perks, work at BFS, manager Samantha Gibbs said. They have the extra money to come spend at places like this and give back to the community. And now a percentage of that is lost, she said. That's going to affect us tremendously. West Virginia ranks third among the contiguous 48 states in the percentage of its total workforce, 3.7% in federal jobs, Bureau of Labor stats show. That's double the national average. Only Virginia and Maryland, the two states closest to Washington, are higher than that, at 4.6% and 5.9%. Again, that's for Virginia and Maryland. John Deskins, an economic professor at West Virginia University, said he's worried about potential job losses at other large federal facilities in the state. We stand to suffer a disproportionate share when those jobs disappear, when that income disappears, he says. Now veterans are caught in the layoffs. Roger Connolly is a Trump supporter who left the Republican Party last year because he thought it was too liberal. In a Facebook post before BFS workers were cut, Connolly said Doge was acting like any successful business, boosting efficiency, and wondered why anyone would question its move to lower the costs. Then his son lost his job at BFS, according to union members. In a February 20th Facebook post, Connolly said while he still backed Trump, he questioned the need to fire so many people so quickly and whether Musk was the right person to lead the effort. See? So first he supported it, but now that a family member got fired, he doesn't like it anymore. Meanwhile, when we performed, Connolly declined to comment. His son did not respond to a request to be interviewed for the story. Piggott, who we talked about earlier, the woman who, like other fired probationary employees, received no severance, faces an uncertain future. She says she and her husband, a disabled military veteran, have been discussing ways to make ends meet, including having to sell their home. She teared up when talking about how many veterans, who make up about 30% of the federal workforce, had lost their jobs at BFS and other agencies. One veteran caught up in the BFS layoffs was Chauncey James, who was promoted twice during his 18 months at BFS. The second time he was promoted was to building maintenance. James, 42, said he too worries about making his mortgage payment and feeding his 5 children. At last week's rally, he marched with a sign criticizing Musk and said he regretted voting for Trump. They're pretty much just coming here chopping heads off without really doing their homework, James said. He got elected president and he's doing a lot of things that people never imagined that he he would be going to do to us.